And we really kind of had four cornerstones. Well-being, and we intentionally start with well-being. So how do we create an organization that cultivates rest and renewal as a core part of our DNA, a core part of who we are? How do we give our people the flexibility that they need in different times in their lives as they kind of go on this life journey? And things change. Things change from year to year. We have young children, we have aging parents, we have things going on in our communities that are important to us. How do we make sure we give people time to fit those things in? Rewards, total rewards, always going to be important. Comp, benefit, table stakes. But how do you make sure that we have the types of benefits that are going to be important to people as their life journey and experiences change? So one of the first pieces of benefits that we changed, for example, was around mental health well-being. One of the things we saw in the pandemic was that our use of our free mental health benefits were increasing significantly, and our people were telling us that the co-pays that were set up for certain mental health providers were a barrier. And so we said, well, we want to make sure that we treat every mental health provider as an in-network provider so that people have the same access to their doctors. And we want to give people more free access to mental health benefits. So that's just one example of where we were responsive to our people and needed to modify our benefits for the time. The other two areas of our strategy are development, and there's a lot in the development umbrella, and we can talk a little bit more about that, but development is kind of core to who we are. We develop the best talent in the world. We're not going to compromise that. But development is also giving our people more agency around how they grow in the firm. Development is also going on this journey together around the human dimensions of leadership and what that looks like. And then the fourth piece is how do we stay connected with people after PwC. So it's kind of always a PwC year. How do we have a really vibrant alumni network? How do we help our people off board when they're ready to leave the firm and join our clients or go to not-for-profits or do other great things? Like, how do we help people leave the firm in a way that feels good to them from a dignity perspective? So we went on this journey this past fall, and one of the things that we were doing under My Plus is saying, My Plus is a journey that is going to grow. It was formed based on feedback from our people, and it's going to continue to develop, pivot, change, grow based on feedback from our people. And so having a culture of listening is so critical, not only to our ability to kind of lead this strategy for the firm, but also to our ability as individuals to develop. So when we think about listening and we think about feedback, we focus on three different areas. We have kind of enterprise-wide feedback, which is like our global people survey and how we're gathering information around sentiment and how our people are feeling at the firm, and we do that a couple of times a year. But we also introduced two really important tools for all of our people to use. We introduced team polling. So it's a tool that leaders, so individual leaders can go out to their teams and can take a pulse on how they're feeling on any given day. So let's say you're in the middle of a particularly busy time for your client engagement, and you want to make sure that your team is prioritizing well-being. You could push out a poll to that team and you can ask how they're doing, and there are a set number of questions that you can ask, and then you get that feedback, and that feedback helps you decide what you as a leader need to do to impact your people experience. So team polling is a tremendous tool that we've launched, and our leaders are making great use of that. And then the third piece of this kind of listening platform is what we call My Feedback, and that's where you can get upward and peer feedback. So now it's like, how do I as an individual solicit and receive the feedback that I need for my own personal growth and development? So I can issue to my team a feedback tool, and I can ask for feedback. I can ask for it in specific areas. I can ask for it with open text. And then I get all this feedback fed to me, and it's, again, a tech-enabled platform where it tells me with word bubbles, like, here are the key themes that are coming out that you can work on. And oh, by the way, here's some learning activities that you can leverage to make sure that you're addressing the feedback themes that are coming back to you. So whether you're doing it in an enterprise-wide level, in a team level, it is an individual level, we fundamentally believe that we're going to grow and be better professionals if we're listening and getting that feedback. So we're doing that, and we're going to continue to evaluate that data along the way. Team polling is something that we introduced in December-ish, November, December of last year. And our expectation is that all of our partners, all of our leaders will solicit feedback through the course of a team poll at least once or twice per year. Because we started halfway through the year, that's the expectation we've set. And we've had incredible engagement on team polling, so our partners and our leaders are doing that. In January, we issued My Feedback, and so we've asked our people to start to engage in the feedback process. So we're only a few months into that. We've had some good uptick, But our goal is to see that all of our people are leveraging the tool to solicit upward and peer feedback because it's core to who they are. So how are we going to drive adoption? We're going to encourage our people to do it. We're going to leverage what we call our activators, and I'll talk about them in a second, to encourage people to do it. But we're also going to talk about it as a part of our year-end process. When we're having conversations with people about their performance and what's next for them in the next year, we're going to talk about, are they soliciting feedback? How are they using that feedback? How are they leveraging the feedback? So we're leveraging those tools to get people to use it. A big part of how we're bringing our strategy to life is with a group of people that we call activators. So we have about 1,250 of our employees who are activators, and then we have another 250 or so of our partners and managing directors. And our activators, their sole job is to activate our people strategy on the job, day to day, with their teams, in their offices, with their communities. And this is the most incredibly engaged group of professionals who are out there every day saying, have you issued a team poll? Have you checked in with your people? Have you tried my feedback? I tried it. Let me tell you what I learned from it. Have you leveraged this tool? You know, it's really exciting if you get your vacation logged in. I did it. They're bringing people together by levels in their offices to say, how do we help you better understand the new people strategy? How can we help you understand what My Plus is doing for you? So they're this activated group of individuals. They have an entire network among them. They have their own little sort of website where they go in and they log what they're doing, where they're sort of tasked with something to drive each month, and they go out and activate it, but they use their own creativity, their own ideas to bring it to life. They then share those ideas with one another as they're driving it. I have been most impressed by this kind of citizen-led approach to bringing our people strategy to life. So we've used more carrot than stick. We brought them together for a live Activate session. We spent 3 days working with them to make sure they understood the strategy, to talk to them about storytelling. How do you effectively tell the story? How do you influence people in the day-to-day work that you do? How do we make sure that we can answer all of your questions about where we're going? How do you leverage and use your network in the most effective way? And a part of what our activators are getting out of this is they're spending time with their leaders. They're spending time with their partners. They're having an opportunity to influence something that is really going to be important to the culture and the fabric and the community of the firm. And so it's their reinvesting opportunity to reinvest in who we are and leave this place better than you found it. But we absolutely brought them together for a big kickoff session. We reach out and they have coaches who they have calls with every month that say, this month we're going to focus on my feedback. And we're going to go out and we're going to get our people to leverage the feedback tool. So use it yourself. Go out and talk to people about it. Be the champion for this change. Or we'll say this month we have a Leaders in Action event, which is this Thursday. Make sure you're in the office. Rally your teams to be there. Be a part of facilitating the discussion. At the end of the Leaders in Action session, they act as facilitators and help have the conversations to make sure that we're getting the insights that we need to get from these experiences. So they're incredible. The most challenging thing about building a strategy and talking about the strategy is that it's not done yet. So when we introduced My Plus to our people, we introduced a vision, and we said, we need you to go on this journey with us. It is going to be a 3-year journey. We are going to roll it out in 6-month increments. We're going to introduce new tools for you. We're going to give you an opportunity to adjust to those tools in a really intentional way. We're going to solicit your feedback. We're going to make changes along the way. And we need you to kind of trust us and go on this journey with us. Well, that's a really hard thing to ask people to do because they didn't have this sort of one tangible thing that they could point to and say, aha, that is My Plus. It's like, no, that's a piece of it, but it's a broader people strategy. So there wasn't this sort of one thing. So I do think one of the most challenging things for us has been to get people on this journey with us and to trust that we were putting these really intentional building blocks in place and that they would build on top of one another and create the outcome that we wanted. 1 year into it, we're in a much better place on that, but it took time. And so when you think about what we did to address it, we went out and we talked to our people. So we introduced it to our people. We had ongoing webcasts where we talked about our people. We got our activators up and running. But then I will tell you, one of my partners and I, we just took to the road and we went on a road show. And we went into 10 or 12 of our largest offices. We had coffee chats on a weekly basis. And we just set up and said, we're going to have an Ask Me Anything question. You tell us what your questions are. You tell us what your fears are. You tell us what makes you super nervous about where we're going, and we're going to answer those questions. And we're going to give you assurances. And by the way, some of our answers are going to be, we don't know yet, because we're still building it and we're still working on it. But we're going to be incredibly transparent with you about how we're going to go on this journey together, and then we're going to ask for your help. Then we're going to ask you to commit. Then we're going to ask you to go talk to our people about it and to go this journey with us. So we would go into our offices, we'd meet with our partners, we'd meet with our employees, we'd have Ask Me Anything sessions. I think that has had the biggest impact of getting people on this journey with us, because so much of what we don't know just frightens us.